Just 2 points in response to comments. There seem to be a lot of very interesting comments coming out today. One person, Peter Hutton, talking about Starmer and his removal of the portrait. I agree with you, but she was crap. I don't think I've ever said that word aloud. Um, and another person points out, I don't know whether I can find it. Uh, the PM resides in number 10 and works from there and is entitled to have whatever paintings he wants in that office or room. You appear to have conflated all manner of unrelated issues here. Why resurrect the Obama Churchill bust non-issue that was a right-wing media beat-up? Yes, I brought in a number of issues because I think this is part of that broader iconoclast idea. And whatever you think of Thatcher, I know a lot of people don't like her at all. A lot of people cannot distinguish, cannot make that distinction between Thatcher, the first woman prime minister, Thatcher, the extraordinary politician, and Thatcher, the person who produced a series of really quite divisive and inappropriate laws, of which Clause 28 is a very good example. But her attack on the miners as well was divisive and destructive. But this doesn't undermine the fact that she was the first woman prime minister, and as such, she has a place, I think, in the history books that goes beyond her record of conservative laws or particular statesmanship. She is iconic in and of herself. The fact that I also think that she has been given a particularly bad press by the BBC and by commentators who are so distanced from the events now that they can paint her in broad brushstrokes without looking at the record. And this is not so much people on the left, but people on the right. Priti Patel, Suella Braverman, Theresa May, and certainly Liz Truss all picked up on the idea that Thatcher was the Iron Lady and that Thatcher never listened. It simply wasn't true. Her Iron Lady speech was extraordinary. Remember, she was talking about, I stand here in my red crimson gown, my hair nicely made up, a little makeup, and she was very funny. This is from a lady who didn't do humour. And she sent up this sobriquet of the Iron Lady, which she'd been given by Russia in Russian propaganda. And she picked it up and she used it. And it's a mistake to think that's who she actually was. She may in the end have got a little power crazed, but the majority of her tenure was a very good example of somebody who was leading a cabinet, even if she didn't always look as if she was collegiate, or sometimes she appeared a little bit more presidential than prime ministerial. But no one can deny her a place in history as the first woman prime minister. And that I should think is something that Keir Starmer would acknowledge. But I can thoroughly understand that the portrait, which is not really one of the best portraits ever. So somebody has also said to me that I'm looking at art history rather than history. No, I'm looking at history. If I were looking at art history, I'd be looking at portraits by great artists, and I don't think there's very many of those in number 10 Downing Street. There is some great art in Downing Street, and Downing Street, like other public buildings, has access to the to quite a large breadth of the national art collection. And I'm sure that Starmer and his wife will have an interest in picking some of that and putting some of that in 10 Downing Street. And it may well be that they have a significantly better piece of work, a significantly better painting for to replace the Thatcher painting. But I think it is important to reflect on Thatcher's legacy and not to be over dismissive about her the things that she has left behind. I think one needs to see through this facade of contempt, which is magnificently paraded by the BBC.